Perfect. Perfect. We are Think Music. Welcome. I'm Brandon. That's Sean. Uh, the loser is Sean, by the way. So we're doing more about music production. Being band members, right? You lead your own bands over there.
Oh my god, you're killing me. All right, so here's what this is. There's a lot of instructional videos out there on YouTube and different places, and a lot of podcasts that explain the ins and outs of music. Lots of good tips and tricks now, and skill things to work on your skills and things like that. We decided to create a podcast that's more designed around talking about the production side. That's what Brandon here does, and I'm a cover band musician, so I'm going to take this from that angle, which is less of a professional and more of an amateur, I suppose, style, and how to be successful in your local cover band. I'd say that's what this is, if you would agree.
Yeah, I think it's just more of like I think less like what you said, like a less of a classroom or like a instructional state, but more of just like okay, let's just chat about our personal experiences and trying to figure out, okay, well, if I've been through this, what's the best way of combating this?
Yeah, I think so. And let's see here. Let me look at your script, which, by the way, we won't follow.
No, not at all. None of these episodes will ever follow a script, but at least we have one.
It's all about stories, laughs, and lessons from both sides of the stage. So yeah, I'm a musician, and you support musicians. So there you go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your background first.
Oh, I'm doing mine first. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as Sean said, I'm Brandon. I'm actually the audio visual technical coordinator at a church in South Carolina, where I specialize in audio engineering and lighting engineering. I do not have a degree in either of these, but I have a worldly degree in both of them, meaning I was thrown into the pits and good luck. So, in most of my understanding is how to just honestly help a team just be a team. Like as an audio engineer, you have to figure out a good way to make sure the band communicates with each other. If they don't communicate with each other, your mix is all messed up. So if you don't have a good mix, that's mostly because you're starting with a band that doesn't know how to communicate with each other, how to play with each other, and that's where most of that starts at. I'm not going to do that second part of the script, so you can move on to your part.
That was the second part.
The share a moment where there's something wrong or right on a Sunday.
You don't have a moment. You don't have anything you'd like to share.
I don't know, wrong or right. Okay, I'll say today then. Today we had a wonderful service. But our worship fell flat in the way of instruments or just musicians in general. We had two musicians call out. So two of them came in to replace them, but have never played with each other. So they had no sort of dynamic and really couldn't figure out where one was going compared to the other. So halfway through, you could hear in the music one would stomp on the other, and it was drums and keys, and it just did not sound like it meshed very well. So there's that from today.
Right on. Okay, I'm sure there's a lot more we can get into with things like that. Yeah, so I've been in the local cover band scene in Phoenix, the Phoenix area, for probably about 10 years now, and I've been playing for probably about 15, 17 years. I've been in a bunch of variations of cover bands, 3-piece to full 5, 6-piece bands, and I've been a drummer in most of those. And one, I'm more of a percussionist doing the cajon. And I've done everything from bars to everything. Private parties, bigger music venues, things like that. The private parties is where that money's at, by the way. For those of you getting into this business, it's usually a lot more dignified. yeah, and then for the last I don't know, few years, I've been running audio as well, both live and post production for recording. Um, yeah, and I've kind of been a leader of a band. I've been an employee of a band. I've been all over the place. So that's where I come from. Um, right now, I'm in three bands. One variety, like all 80s to now, all over the place. One country band where I'm a drummer in that, and then I'm a percussionist in a three-piece acoustic band that does a little bit of everything, including a lot of drinking. Um, share a moment where something went wrong or right, right? Or a quick funny, yeah. Oh boy, quick funny or insightful story. So let's see, man. Funny. There's plenty of. I mean, I have so many bad things that come to mind that I've done to myself or to someone else on stage. So I'll tell you this quick funny story. I did a gig for a bike week. It was a 4-hour outside, beautiful day. Started off beautiful, and they had a person running the event who had a microphone and really loved talking into it. And ended up owning the whole 4 hours almost. Set all my stuff up, and that band's a lot. We got a lot to set up, and it probably takes 2 hours to set up. And then we played maybe 15 songs throughout the 4 hours. And finally, when we got this guy on the microphone to cut his shit out and just start being like, "Let us play our music," a dust and wind thunderstorm came flying through. And mind you, we're outside, and just as soon as we're getting ready to play, all the tents got picked up and sent down the street by the wind. I'm pretty sure the guy up front in my band had a tent almost take him out as it was flying by at a high rate of speed. So yeah, we were there for really 6 hours when you include the setup, and I played maybe 15 songs. Yeah, so that was. Got paid the same though. So, anyways, yeah, that's yeah, that was a rough night. I've got video of that too.
It'll probably make it at some point in the.
Yeah, when the rain came in, I started to think, man, that's the only thing I thought was my mixer's gonna get soaked, and that's gonna be it. And I had my in-ears in. I'm like, I'm gonna get electrocuted. But no, but anyways, yeah, that's one of many stories I have that could be insightful.
Insightful is a word. I'm not sure whether that's to describe that or not, but it's.
Oh, I got another couple stories. I can tell you what not to do. We'll get into those later.
So just like Sean said earlier, we're not here to make a how-to podcast or how-to videos. Okay, maybe we're not here to hold your hand on how to do certain things, but we're here on how to, for example, Sean is very opinionated about a certain episode we have scheduled called "How to Be a Good Bandmate," and that's gonna lead him down a rabbit hole. So that's a how-to video, but
it'll be my episode.
The rest of them aren't exactly how-to videos. But we honestly, I think we wanted to mostly just talk about behind the scenes things. Most of what we do between my job's a lot more behind the scenes. Sean is very much also behind the scenes in the way of either being the drummer or just doing, AV work. A lot of that is just behind the scenes, but a lot of people don't realize if that person's not there, the band's not going to sound as good as they, should. So unless you want to listen to a crappy band the entire time, that's fine. One thing I do want to point out. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say most of the situations I'm in, you don't even get a sound guy. The band's on their own.
Oh yeah.
And we can get more into that. But in this area, a lot of the bars that we play at don't have even a PA system. You got to bring your own, and you got to run your own sound. And the money's just not there to pay a sound person in a lot of cases. And there's caveats to that. And there's different situations you can be in where that's not the case. For example, tribute bands make a little bit more money. They can afford a sound guy, but at the same time, they tend to play in places around here that have a full PA and a sound person. So Making a band sound good while playing in it at the same time is quite the challenge, but I've kind
Yeah.
of figured out how to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it a couple times because like I've had to I also do lead worship every once in a while, as in vocally. And having to like, first of all, most of the time I'm behind the PA. So we have our speakers and I'm behind onto the stage, which is super difficult for me to understand or for me to hear what I'm mixing. And so I'm on stage and I'm trying to like mix to adjust certain things and change certain things. And yeah, that's super difficult. Um, but one thing I did want to cover before we move on into this podcast, because people are gonna talk about it and I can already feel it. Me and Sean do come from two very different backgrounds.
You don't say.
Mine is going to be more of the church and Christian sort of realm. And Sean comes from the secular part of the realm. But
Thanks. Sorry, go on.
as he talked about drinking in bars earlier.
Oh, come on.
But
Jesus drank wine.
mu- but music is the same no matter where you go, right? And being what we're going to be talking about does not change from location to location. Like everywhere you still need to be as best as you can be as a musician or as a team member or even as a leader in certain cases. So even though we're two different backgrounds, we still have the same struggles and the sort of way of dealing with people, and still have very different methodologies on how to deal with that. And this is why this is here.
So in that case,
Yeah. Trying to think
what can we expect in this season?
Yeah, what can
this
we
podcast,
expect in this season, Sean?
Because it was news to me that they're done in seasons now. I was just like episode, whatever. But I guess season 1. But that shows you how much I know. How to be a good teammate on stage or in the booth, which would be in your case, and that's going to be one that we can definitely dive into. And I got plenty of stories and or tips and tricks. Handling rehearsal chaos. Oh yeah, that's one of my bands. So one of my bands we don't rehearse because we have a terrible work ethic, but we always pull it off no matter what. And then my other one, it's the country band's fantastic, but everybody in that band except for the one lead guy is like can play heavy, go down some death metal parts of music. So sometimes rehearsal gets a little bit stupid, and we have a lot of fun with it. Our worst and funniest moments, yeah, we can definitely talk about that at some point throughout the season. How to handle burnout, which I have absolutely been through.
Yeah, that's honestly that's probably one of the biggest ones that we're going to be talking about for a while, because that can happen so easily, but you not know until it does.
Yeah, there's a lot of tips.
It's hard to come back from. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. It is because you lose your passion for this and it's over.
Yeah.
We might have some future guests, fellow musicians, worship leaders, venue techs, etc. Yeah, I think we can. I think that'd be a good idea. Definitely just some different perspective. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay. So we're reaching at that 20-minute mark, at least according to my thing. So we're gonna shoot some quick rapid fire questions. And you're not reaching a 20-minute mark, are you?
No. It's funny because we're definitely off by like 3 minutes, which is ironic. But a rapid fire question. I can't promise you that they're going to be super short answers.
Oh, definitely not. Okay, we're gonna start with the short ones first, and then we'll go to the longer ones. Well, you already know the shortest one is coffee or energy drinks.
Well, for me, it's energy drinks. Yeah, no doubt. But I will say sugar-free.
Not a sponsor, but these Monster zero sugar energy drinks.
Yeah, this one's zero sugar.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Tall boy.
What? What is that one?
Yeah, it's tall. It's 18.6 ounces.
This one's a 16 ounce.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's a tall boy.
I gotta find the big ones. No, that's an alcohol. That's not that. But. But yeah, no, energy drinks all the way.
Monster wants to sponsor me.
Yeah, if you
I have a
guys,
case delivered to my house every week.
Monster, if you're looking for sponsorships, looking for people to promote your products, we drink it all the time. Hit us up, put us in the inbox. But yeah, no, coffee just doesn't do enough for me.
I just want to clear up here that
Okay.
I didn't even see that question on the list.
What do you mean?
Oh, it was on the second page. Never mind.
Yeah.
Carry on. Totally organized. 100%.
Okay. All right, we'll go with pre-show ritual. So what do you do to prepare yourself for a show?
I don't have a specific steps that I take before a show, but here's what I like to do. I like to have enough time to set all my gear up and then sit down and stare at it for a few minutes and not rush right into playing. I can't stand throwing all my crap up on stage and then have to immediately go to work. I like to give myself enough time to set my drums up, sound check, line check, all those things, and then go sit down for a few minutes and have a beverage of some sort.
Preferably
one might
your
include
Monster
alcohol.
that we just. Sorry.
I gotta have a beer.
You wanted an actual tall boy. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then and then go to work because I don't. I've been in so many situations where I got to throw everything up and think about cover bands and tribute bands and ones that really support themselves and don't have a lot of help. It could be an hour, 2 hours, sometimes 3, depending on the size. Where you're setting everything up and you're setting up the PA, you're running cables, you're doing all this stuff, and then you're tired, and then you got to play for 3-4 hours. I'd like to have a few minutes before my gig to get in the right mindset and then go do it.
I'm not sure if I have a pre-show ritual. I mean, I kind of the way I do things is I kind of just make sure everything is set the way it needs to be, especially if I'm not the one running it. So because we have volunteers at a church, which is our unpaid interns, we
free labor for the Lord.
I gotta make sure my job doesn't see this. We no, so but because we have volunteers, I try and make sure that everything I do is set well enough that if one of our volunteers comes in, they can easily just run the operation without me needing to be there. So I think my pre-show ritual, if I had one, would be to double check and cross check all of my work just to make sure that everything is set the way it needs to be. Other than trying to, yeah, I mean, I'm so used to getting everything done and then immediately getting into it that it honestly doesn't bother me anymore. If I need to sit there for 5 minutes and relax, but there's that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their thing. I'm more just want to relax. Double checking everything. I'm really terrible about that actually, because I'll spend all that time setting everything up, and then as soon as I get started, my snare mic will fall off or whatever, and it's just I gotta get better at that.
Oh god. Okay. So this next question, I'm actually gonna twist it a little bit. Instead of it saying favorite venue, I'm gonna say worst venue, or what was one of your least favorite venue, least favorite venues to play at.
Oh man. I definitely played at some doozies. I'm gonna refer to you, but man, I don't want to mention any names.
Yeah.
Of any venues, but there was one I played at that it wasn't that it was a bad place. They actually had a pretty decent built-in crowd and everything, but they had no stage, so it was kind of a stage if you want to call that, but there was you had to line everybody up.
Is this your
side by side
one?
No, no. This one was a little while back, and it's back when I was in a at that point it was a 5-piece band before it turned into a 6-piece band.
Oh my
So the
god.
the orchestra, the 5 of us were lined up against the wall, like long ways. Like I had to like reach down and scream at the, because there was just no stage, right? And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the owner was like, "Hey, you plug this into your mixer," and he hands me this
Oh,
cable, and I look at
that's
where it goes, and it goes up, and all they have speakers surrounding like this. It's a long place, so like they just have speakers on the wall every so often. But where we were playing, they're behind us, in front of us, beside us. I'm like, oh, this is just going to be a nightmare for backfeeding. And then to top it all off, the band, who at the time didn't quite understand the situation we were in yet, even though I knew what was going on because I've been running audio enough that I knew that this was going to be a problem. But on top of that, they're like, we don't need monitors. There's speakers all around us. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. I'm like, those speakers, one, are going to become problematic. And two, like, this is the main outs is going to be different from what your monitors have. Like, this is, and so they were arguing with me about that. And I'm like, all right, we'll play your game. And we play a couple songs and they all turn around. We can't hear. I'm like, good. Nope, you don't say. So let's go ahead and get the monitors hooked up. Like I said, we should. And I played that gig for 4 hours. Here's the worst part. What I had to plug into my mixer was an adapter that the bar gave me because they were using some RCA cables or some shit to run. I don't know what they were doing. When we were packing up my PA, somebody threw that in my PA box. And then the next morning, I get an IM from the band like, "Hey, do you have this thing? The owner wants to know." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, "No, I don't have that." And I go, "I'm like, let me go check," and open up my mixer box. I'm like, "Oh, that definitely isn't mine. That's theirs." So, mind you, I didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning the night before. Now it's early in the morning. I have to run back to the bar and get them that because I didn't know if they had a band coming in that afternoon or something and didn't want to screw them. And then I got there and sure enough, they did not have a band playing and they did not need that right away. But I returned it anyway. Cool people, just weird place to play with the audio setup and the stage setup. Like
That
it's one
sounds
of those
odd.
situations. It's one of those things where the place wants to have live music, but they don't really have a way to put a band in that place. So it happens. You have to get creative sometimes. Just work with what you got.
I don't know if I can say I had a least favorite place to mix at. Um, but I can state a least favorite scenario. Um, so I gotta choose my words carefully. There's a newer mixing setup that is a little bit more acoustic feeling. So it's not as big of a stage as you would like. It's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit niche. And you have two speakers, some floor fills, two speakers, some floor monitors, um, and like a row of mics, right? So I didn't personally care for it just because I knew the issues this was going to cause. Not in the event of like backfeeding because you have the monitors and the monitors are not as loud, so it should be fine. But I knew in the event of like people wanting their own personal IEMs. And so we had this huge problem where uh certain people wanted their own speaker, and I looked at them and was like, you can't have your own speaker because I don't have enough for everybody.
You mean you
Uh
talking about musicians?
yes.
They
Like
want their own floor monitor. Oh, I got
they
you.
wanted their own speaker, but I didn't have enough. So
Yeah.
the worst part of the whole thing was because we had one board, I had to be the floor mixer or the monitor mixer, and I had to be the front of house mixer. And so halfway throughout rehearsal, they're like, "Hey, can you put a little bit more in this monitor? Can you put a little bit more in this monitor? Oh, there's too much in this monitor." It is just an overwhelming ordeal. So I found somebody to cover it for me and just let them do that. Yeah, that's all I can say about that part.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I love the I can't hear this. Like I want more or less of this. Like it's cool. Um, at first, like during a sound check, like work that shit out, and
Yeah.
then in the middle of the gig, like we shouldn't be discussing this continuously.
Although
Which I
there's a
have
good T-shirt
plenty
that
of great
says,
stories about.
yeah, there's a good T-shirt that says, "Can I get more talent in my monitors?" Whenever someone asks, "Can I get more of something in my monitors?" And I was like, you know what? I'm down. That's like I kind of want that T-shirt. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty
Kind of
good.
do too. I wouldn't mind having that shirt.
Okay, we're gonna do one more. Most overrated piece of gear.
Ooh,
Honestly, I'm gonna go with this first. The SM58.
how's that
And I
overrated? That's classic.
know I'm gonna get hate for it. I
Oh,
I
that's 100% gonna
I
get hate for that.
I love how simplistic it is, and I love how it works. Like it's a super simple mic. You plug it in, plug and play, good to go.
That's what makes it rated highly.
It's just it's overrated to me. Like, do something different. Get try
Dude,
out some other mics.
I'm sure there's plenty of other options out there. That I mean, and mind you, they did go up $10 finally. They are not
Yeah,
$100
yeah,
anymore.
they're not $99 anymore. Now they're like
No,
109, I think.
no, and that's a sign of times changing right there because that thing's been constant.
$99 for decades.
I was in a band with someone who had a Shure wireless mic, and I don't know what it was about that thing, but it hated me and any venue we played in. It just like always wanted the back feed. I could never get that thing to do what I needed it to do. But the every other Shure plugged-in mic that I've ever used is they're just reliable. They just work.
No, don't get me
But
wrong. I say it's
there's other options.
overrated, but I still use it. So it's overrated, but I still use them because
You might
they're
want to look up the
hardy.
definition of overrated. Five
They're
stars isn't
hardy.
overrated.
Well, okay, but they're built well. Like the quality of the mic itself is really. You can drop the mic and it still will work. Like that's insane for I mean, well, not anymore, but it was
So
insane for the value you pay for.
all the things that you've said is good. You haven't said like people buy this and it's a piece of crap. You're giving it a great review. I don't know how it's overrated. You might want to try this again.
Okay, what's your overrated piece of tech then, Mister? Try this again.
You know, I don't know that I would say that I have a specific thing that I think is an overrated piece of gear. What I think ends up happening instead, because if you look at this from, as a drummer, I could say a lot of things. As a guitarist, I could say a lot of things. But really, what I think the problem with gear is, and musicians are really bad about this, is we want all of it
Yes.
generally, and I don't think we need all of it. Um, you know, the more options you have on stage or in a recording environment is awesome to have. But you can go down this road of either wanting something that corrects a problem. One of the if you're buying gear to cover up for something like a skill issue, that's not good.
Yeah.
But I think as you play over time, you start to realize like the simpler the options that you have on stage, the better. The more stuff you put into the mix, the more things that can go wrong. Yeah. As a drummer, you can spend a ton of money in the drum world on anything. Cymbals, drums themselves, microphones that are ridiculously expensive, all those things, hardware. Find something reliable, use it, be good with it. Like get to know your gear really well, so that you don't have, if you have to troubleshoot something, you're not holding the whole band up. All those things, but which goes into the episode of being a good bandmate, which we will talk in depth about on how to manage your own gear.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have like one thing that I see everybody has. I tell you what annoys me.
Oh boy.
When it comes to gear, is every musician now has something in their face, a phone or an iPad.
Yeah.
Now, I don't disagree with having it on stage. I think that's fine. I think if you got it like on your mic stand or whatever on the side, I think that's fine, because especially in a cover band situation where like you're playing for 4 hours, you're playing all kinds of stuff. You may not remember all of it, but I see a lot of vocalists that don't learn their parts. They just read from the iPad. They know the key that they're singing in, and
Can we
they
can we
don't.
make that an episode and push it up to like next episode?
And I'm not like, I get it, things happen, but like the whole, like, if you watch the band and they remember their parts, you as a vocalist aren't excused from that. Like,
Yes.
do I have like a cheat sheet occasionally on some songs that I might be new on? Yeah, which I don't disagree with. Like I said, I won't say don't have it. I'm just saying, like, I will watch a gig, I'll watch a band, and I will watch that singer stare at an iPad the whole night. Takes away from the performance.
It's not like, as an audience member, it's not captivating at all. And like,
Yeah, it's
this
exactly.
is something we have to tell our vocalists at our like production meetings. Like, hey,
Yeah.
don't stare at your iPad. Pay attention to where you're looking at. And then we have a confidence monitor that's usually in the back, and everyone stares at the confidence monitor. And I'm like,
Well,
y'all,
it's better than the
you have an
iPad.
entire audience to stare at. Look at them, not the iPad or the confidence monitor.
Yeah, I think
I
think
digress.
it's become like, well, it's easy to have that crutch now. So it's just
Yeah.
because there's the phone can be yay big right there on the stand, and you can reference it. And like I said, I think for situations where you need it, I totally get it. I'm not against it. I just think it's, you just be smart about it, because one of the things you'll notice with singers is when they're reading lyrics, they tend to not be as projectful. And you can see like the energy on stage come down.
Yeah.
When people are reading music. And one of the things we don't want to do as musicians or singers or anybody is to look down at our instrument, look down at an iPad. I've even seen people holding lyrics in their hands on a piece of paper, which is throwback to old school.
I've seen that too.
You're in a situation, you're in it, get through it, but try to be better. That's the only thing I can recommend when it comes to that. So yes, that's my qualms with iPads on stage.
I stand with the SM58.
If you say so.
Anyways,
Nothing but good things come out of your mouth about that microphone. But anyways,
it's good. It's just not that good. Anyways,
I don't. Some of the greatest music producers
using
and
SM58,
recording engineers, using SM.
yes.
So it must be doing something right.
But Shure has these awesome studio mics that just sound so much better than the SM58.
I'm sure they do, and
I mean, they're triple the price, but
yeah, $100. Well, now $110. Thanks to inflation or tariffs or whatever the hell it is today. $110, which I still think is, $110 for a microphone that's going to last you forever.
Oh yeah, it's still a good deal. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry, I had to like slightly yawn. Anyways, so we're gonna wrap it up. I guess I'll just touch on these things real fast. So we said earlier that this podcast is not like a how-to tutorial or whatever, but honestly, we're just looking for like musicians or just music enthusiasts in general, audio visual people, like anyone that's just interested in trying to like be a part of the back end of this whole thing. We would love suggestions, topics. Like if you're on YouTube, post them in there. If you're not on YouTube, head to our website and like put something in there. Thinkmusicpodcast.com, by the way. Like go there, go to our contact page and like give us a suggestion of like what you want to talk about. If we get enough people, we might even start a Reddit page and just have people put like their
Really?
conversation. Oh yeah, people do it all the time. Dude, it's actually a really good way to get stories.
Here's the problem with Reddit, though. I swear it's a cesspool. Like nothing against Reddit, but I mean, like you want to go somewhere where you meet people who hate everyone, go to Reddit. Like that's
but
everything's so negative.
You have a good Reddit, Anyways.
Well, can I just?
Yeah.
Who am I speaking to? Is the guy or gal starting out for the first time in their local music scene, looking to start a band, looking to join a band, looking to start an instrument. I think it's safe to say professional level musicians or roadies or AV or whatever, those guys, they have everything we're talking about plus way more in their skills. I'm more after the people who, like me, kind of had to navigate getting into this. I'd say business because, well, it's not necessarily something you do full time, or in some cases it can be. There's a lot of challenges to becoming a musician that does cover work or tribute work, things like that. And there's a lot of things along the way that I wish I had known ahead of time before putting myself in those situations. So that's who I'm after. So if they have any questions, any ideas that they want to know about, we'll try to think of most of them. But if you have some, let us know.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear from you guys. Like I said, like contact us on the website. If not, if you're on YouTube, put a comment down there. Other than that, definitely follow us on YouTube, on Spotify. Hopefully we'll make it to Apple Music at some point. We'll see how that runs. It'll probably just be Spotify and YouTube for a good little while until I figure that out.
We'll start cracking the Apple's ecosystem.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, so subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on Spotify, follow, put our notifications. You know, we're gonna try to do these pretty often.
What is our schedule? I don't.
I have
This is gonna be once a week. Okay, so absolutely nothing.
We're gonna figure this out. Yep.
Got it. Cool.
Any other closing remarks, Sean?
Yeah, we're just gonna go off the script here.
Okay, ready. Let's go.
That's it for episode 1 of Think Music.
Check us. Thanks for checking us.
I told you, you can't read it. Don't do it. It's just not gonna work. Never works.
Thanks for checking us out. We're just getting started. New episodes drop every insert day.
Which we don't actually have the answer to. So we didn't figure that out.
So I mean, okay, here we go. Ready? Real time right here. What's our upload schedule?
Nobody's gonna listen to anything we have to say at this rate.
No. Not at all. I'm gonna at least say like twice a month. That's doable.
That's probably that's fair enough.
Twice a month. Okay, so we'll try this again. Thanks for checking us out. We're just getting started. New episodes twice a month. When that'll happen, I don't know, so stick around. Okay, you ready? We gotta do this together.
Oh Jesus, who wrote this shit? Seriously.
Okay.
Did we actually agree to this? We didn't agree to this.
No, not at all.
There's no way we agreed to this.
Okay, let's try. All right. 3, 2, 1. Until next time, keep thinking and keep making music.
Stupid. We'll see ya.